Hi guys, this is your first set of video notes, and today we're going to talk about finding area on a coordinate plane. So I got a little warm up for you to start with here. You can pause the video and do this if you think you can do it, and then play it, or you can just go around with me right now. We're going to plot these points, and then we're going to complete these sentences. Okay, so the points. Remember when you plot a point, you go in the X direction, then the Y direction. This is the X axis, this is the Y axis. So the first number in each pair of the coordinates is the X coordinate. That's the first sentence. And the second one is the Y coordinate. And let's see what shape is formed when we make these dots and connect them. So over 3 in the X direction, up 6. There's a point right there. -3 up 6. Well, I already counted up 6, so that's convenient. -3 down 1 and 3. Oh, I'm a liar. You guys are probably getting mad at me. -3 up 1 and 3, 1. So when I connect those, what shape did I make? Now, some of you might be tempted to say square. And I don't know if it is or not, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's only 5 up, if you can tell. This is actually a rectangle. If you said square, it's because you had a kind of a sloppy graph like me. But if you had graph paper, you would be able to tell it is a rectangle. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And more specifically, we're going to talk about area, the number of squares that was actually inside that rectangle. So there were squares inside of it, and we are going to find the area. And we're going to use a formula because you are allowed to count them if you wanted to. But if you don't have graph paper, it'll be hard to get an accurate count of all those squares inside there. So instead, we're going to use a formula. And the formula we are going to use is area of a rectangle. Area of a rectangle is area equals B times H, or base times height. So for this particular rectangle, it has a base of 5 inches, a height of 3 inches. The area is going to be 5 times 3. And if there would have been squares here, you would have been able to count them. But there's not. There's going to be 15 total squares in there. I'm trying to kind of show you what it would have looked like if there were squares in there. 15. Now you have to have a unit. So what we were doing are we're counting squares, don't forget. So the unit is going to be inches squared. You could also say square inches if you would like. Let's look at this little table. I'm going to delete that for you. Okay, so it looks like a rectangle that has a base of 4 and a height of 6. What would the area be? Well, the formula is base times height. So that will be 4 for the base times 6 for the height, and that will be 24 centimeters squared. They gave you more examples. If it was 5 and 7, it would be 35, and 6 and 8, it would be 48. So what if they don't draw it for us and we are in charge of drawing it? You will have to find distance of some shapes based on counting or subtraction. So these 2 points, we have one at 1, 2, and 5, 2. This has a distance, and the distance is going in the X direction. So you can either count 1, 2, 3, 4, or you could look at the ordered pairs to try to figure this out by looking at the ordered pairs. And this is an X direction. And you can tell from 1, 2, and 5, 2, the Y's stay the same. They're in the same place. What's changing is the 1 and the 5. So you can say how far apart are 1 and 5? They are 4 units apart. We're not going to say -4 because there's no such thing as negative distance. You just have to say how far is the number 1 from the number 5 on a number line, and it is 4 units apart. So the length of segment AB is what we call 4 units. Okay? I keep having these little boxes here. We're going to plot these 2 points and then imagine they're connected and figure out the length. So if I graph 4, -1 over 4, down 1, and 9, -1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are my 2 dots. It said imagine they're connected. I don't have to connect them. It's going to make it harder to count. So you just need to figure out how far is it from 4 to 9. The -1 stays the same. So how far is it from 4 to 9 on a number line? That's going to be 5 units. Okay, how is this question going to be a little bit different? Let's look. This time, they want us to do the points -1, 5 and -1, -3. Now for starters, it's different because it's up or down. It's similar because I could still count if I want to. It's different because now the things that are the same are the -1. So that's kind of what I'm going to ignore when I'm figuring this distance out. But I still could use kind of subtraction here, except to be careful with this -3. So you have to think about that number line. How far apart is 5 and -3 on a number line? Well, this much is 5, and then that much is 3. So how far apart are they? They're a total of 8 units apart. So when one's on one side of an axis and the other's on the other side, you might have to kind of add. But if you use your brain and start to ask how far are those 2 things apart on a number line, I think you're going to be able to get it. Okay, let's try this guy. We're going to put it all together. So they gave us 4 points, and then they had them plotted -5, 4, 2, 4, -5, -1, and 2, -1. The first question, and there will be questions like this on your homework, what are the dimensions? That's asking you what is the base and what is the height. And you look. So for the base, this guy's at -5. This guy's at 2. How far apart is -5 from 2? Well, there's 5 this way and 2 this way. The base is 7 units. How tall is it? Well, we're up 4 on this way, and we're at -1 here. So how far apart is -1 to 4? Well, I have 1 this way, and then I'm going up 4. That gives me a total of 5 units for my height. Put it together to find the area. You can put a cross sign here if you want. You could say 7 by 5 if you want. What is the area? Area is base times height. The base is 7. The height is 5. Remember what we're doing. We're counting units. 35, you can put a unit squared, or you can write out the word square units. Here's some more practice. So let's look at the picture. Let's do the base first. We're just finding the dimensions and then the area. This guy is starting at 3. It ends at 4, 5, 6. How far apart is it from 3 to 6? It's 3 units. Now let's look for the height. This guy is at -4. How tall is it? Well, it's all the way up here at 5. From -4 to 5, you have to go up to 0 first. So there's 4. There's 5 more. It's a total of 9 units high. So the dimensions are 3 by 9. In the area, which is base times height, is 3 times 9, or 27. Don't forget that label, units squared. What is the base on this guy? Well, the base is starting over here at -4, and then it's going over to 1. So the total base is from -4 to 1. It's going to be 5 units because you had 4 this way and 1 more this way. The up or down is going from -2 to +2. You have to go to 0 first, so 2 up and then 2 up. That guy is 4. So the dimensions are 5 by 4. And the area, base times height, would be 5 times 4, which would be 20 units squared. Okay, a rectangle has these vertices. They want us to plot them and figure out what the area expression would be. So let's see here. I have -3, 1. I have -3, 5. Two, 5. And 2, 1. Okay, so those are my dots. What would the base be here? Well, I went from -3 to 2. How far is it from -3 to 2? That's a total of 5. That's enough for me to get the answer because there's only one of them that has a 5. But if I went up and down, I was going from 1 to 5, and that would be 4. So it's 5 times 4, which would be 20 square units. Okay, now we're going to look at a word problem. Lindy wants to prepare the ground in her backyard for a garden with a base of 10 feet, and the height is 6 feet. That seems important to me. She wants to map it out, and she already put 2 stakes, one here at 0.3 and 0.9. Where are the last 2 stakes going to be? Well, let's look at this. From 3 to 9, that's that distance of 6 that she's talking about. So now I need to go a base of 10 and make it a rectangle. So which way do I need to go? I need to go from this point to the right. To get a base of 10, I'm going to have to count out 10. It's already marked very clearly for me. So this point would go here at the point 10, 1, 2, 3. The second stake would be off of this post or stake, and we would go over here. And it would also be over 10, but now I'm up 9 units. So those are where the last 2 stakes are. And then what would the area be? She already told me what she wanted the base to be. The base is going to be 10. The height was going to be 6. So you can just take base times height, 10 times 6, which is 60. We're not going to say units squared here because she told me what the unit was. It's feet, so we will say feet squared. Okay, last one. Joey is staking out a spot for a rectangular pen. He is building for a new pig. He has 3 stakes already plotted. Plot the following and then figure out the last one. Okay, so the first one is at -2, up 0. The second one is 4, up 0. Then over 4, down 6. So where would that last pin have to be? Well, it'd have to be over here. So I'm definitely going to be to the left 2. How far down am I going to be? I'm going to be the same distance down as this guy was. So that will be -6. I now can do my base times my height. The base is the distance from -2 to 4. How far is it from -2 to 4? That's going to be 6 units. The height was taking me from this -6 all the way up to 0. How far away is -6 from 0? It's also 6. Base times height will be 36. And we're back to units, I think. Units squared, because they didn't tell me feet or anything like that. Okay, that's it for your first notes. There's a worksheet for you to try on your own.